Hi, it's Stephanie Weaver here in the Blue and Yellow Kitchen in San Diego, California. I'm here with Mike Roypour on the camera and Daisy May, the Golden Retriever, on the floor. Today we're going to be cooking something from a new cookbook called Winner Winner Chicken Dinner by Stacie Billis. Stacie's not able to be with us today due to scheduling, but I'm really excited to showcase one of her recipes in her brand new book, and I'm going to try some more also. So this is a chicken Laarb. And if you've ever had Northern Thai cuisine, you may have had Laarb. It's usually eaten with the fingers. I first had it on my first trip to Bangkok in 1990. We had friends who lived there, and they took us to a floating barge restaurant on the river. And it was Northern Thai cuisine, so there was sticky rice, and you would use the sticky rice to scoop up the Laarb. It's delicious. I know it's made with beef and probably with pork, and this version is with chicken. So it requires 1.5 pounds of ground dark meat chicken, which usually is not what is for sale as ground chicken. So my tip is I'm going to share the link to Brandon Matzick's blog, Kitchen Confidence, where he shows you how to easily make your own ground meat using the food processor. So I did that yesterday, and what I've got simmering on the stove is chicken broth or chicken stock, 3 minced garlic cloves, a half a teaspoon of brown sugar, and I skipped the half teaspoon of salt just because I'm on a low sodium diet.
Can I just see that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So this is the ground. So these are ground chicken, boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You cut them up into small pieces, freeze them for 20 minutes, and then you can process them, and it doesn't make it still makes a little bit of a mess, but the meat gets cut cleanly because it's partially frozen, so that's how that works. And then we're just going to put this into this very small amount of broth that's simmering. And what Stacie says to do is cook it for 8 minutes and only break it up with a fork 3 or 4 times. So the thing with ground meat is you don't want to mess with it a lot because then it gets tough. And so I thought there were some really nice tips in this book about handling chicken. There's all different kinds of chicken recipes. And so we'll be back in a moment through the magic of video, and we'll continue on with the recipe. 30 minutes later, or thereabouts. So we simmered the chicken, and I guess I would say this is maybe a wider, she says a medium pot. This was a wider pot than maybe she used, and so a 1/4 cup of broth basically didn't cover the bottom of it, and I was concerned that it would burn. So I did put in a 1/2 cup of broth. But simmered the chicken. It took about 13 minutes, and then you have to let it cool. So I'm going to use a slotted spoon. I have partially drained it. And then while I was doing that, so there's going to be a dressing, and then there's some other herbs and aromatics going in this Laarb, chicken Laarb. Everything smells really yummy. So I'm just using the slotted spoon so I don't add too much liquid. You do just discard that, the broth, the cooking liquid. Okay.
So while you're doing that,
Yep.
How would you categorize a Laarb?
So I think you looked it up. You said it was a minced meat salad.
Yeah.
Thailand and Laos, so Southeast Asian, and it's usually got fresh herbs. So this has fresh cilantro, fresh mint. Stacie in the book says, I'll show you her picture, which is super pretty. So you can just see it's like super fresh and yummy. When I had it in Thailand, so I was visiting, I did a 2-month trip to Southeast Asia when I was 28. I saved up for 2 years. And I don't know if they still have it, but they had something called a Circle the Pacific ticket where you could keep going the same direction in a circle, and it was one set price. Thailand was my second stop after Hong Kong. And we had friends who lived there, so they arranged for us to go out to dinner on this floating barge restaurant. And it was really beautiful, just really beautiful food. So it was served with sticky rice, and you would actually kind of take a scoop of the sticky rice, and then it was like stick to your fingers, and then you would grab the Laarb and just eat it off your hands. I don't know that I would do that for sure, not now with a pandemic, but I probably wouldn't in another country eat with my hands just because of, you know, potential hygiene issues. Okay, so, but it was a really fun trip, and I got to experience all kinds of food and cultures, and it sounds like Stacie has been to Thailand, and she said she learned kind of a simpler version of how to prepare this, and I'm just breaking up the meat just slightly because I want it to really toss with this dressing. So the other trick I wanted to show you, it's not in her book, but she calls for 3 thinly sliced shallots. Shallots can range from pretty small to huge, and I didn't want to overpower the salad with the shallots, so I just used one large one. I sliced it using the mandolin, which is a specialty slicer that you won't have in your kitchen, but just use, you know, sharp knife, slice it real thinly. But then I soak it in ice water, and I learned that from Michael Natkin's book because that helps take the really sharp edge off the shallot. So while the chicken was cooling, I sliced the shallot and then I put it in a bowl of ice water. And now I'm just using one of my disreputable kitchen towels to just make sure I'm not making everything very wet. So I'm just getting the moisture out of those. It's still going to be very, very, very shalloty. It just won't have that bite that can be. You can also do that with red onion. So like, I used to work at a place, and they had a little cafe, and the joke was every single dish had raw red onion on it, which I couldn't stand. But now that I know, like, if there was a recipe that called for that, you can soak it in the ice water and it just takes the edge off. Okay, so our dressing is lime juice, which I did not have a lot of because my limes were not super juicy. A little sriracha, and she calls for 2 tablespoons of fish sauce, which is a fermented anchovy sauce used in Southeast Asian cooking. I'm just going to use a little bit less because it is for sure a migraine trigger for me, but I love it. So, and I want to be reasonably true to her recipe. You know, you could use a whisk, but you don't really need to. And she calls for tasting it, I believe. Sorry, I thought I had everything out here I needed, and just kind of seeing if you need to adjust it. Woo! Baby, wow. Very limey, very fish saucy, maybe.
So what all is in that right now?
It's just lime juice, which is pretty sharp, pretty sharp. It's not a really sweet lime. I might even consider a little brown sugar in that. Fish sauce and sriracha, so which is also native to the area. We've got a 1/4 cup of turned out to be fresh mint from our garden, and a 1/4 cup of fresh cilantro, not from our garden because I've never been able to grow cilantro. I don't know why. It just does not like me. And then we got our dressing. So she says to start with half of it, toss, and kind of see how it goes. I may need all of it just because I didn't have a whole lot of lime in there. But yeah, so I had to look up the origin of the phrase "winner, winner, chicken dinner" because I, of course, heard it, but I really didn't know where it was from. And it turns out they don't know exactly, but it seems to relate to gambling in some way. So there's a movie set in Las Vegas where they yell that out. Part of the lore says that, a chicken dinner costs $1.79 and most Vegas bets were $2. So if you won, you'd win a chicken dinner. Maybe some casinos actually gave you a chicken dinner. I don't know. But it's kind of a fun phrase. And so I'm going to let that sit for just a minute and show you talk a little bit more about Stacie's really fun book. So let me just show you the stuff that I highlighted. So sheet pan fajitas, I thought looked just delicious and super fun and really easy. I also learned a lot about choosing chicken, cooking chicken. She's got a 30-minute method for cooking perfect chicken thighs with a maple glaze. That sounds delicious. I just have trouble finding bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. The places I shop don't seem to have them. And then she's got Indian-style fried chicken thighs. And I don't normally fry, but I might try deep frying because this looks so interesting and appealing. So there's 50 recipes in here. It's a super colorful book. And she's got, how to choose, buy, and handle a chicken, butchering and carving, and then she's got oven, pan, pot, grill chapters. So it's really fun because it does feel kind of a trip around the world. Like one of the things you said when we started was you wouldn't expect a book called Winter Winter Chicken Dinner and have a recipe for chicken Laarb in it from Thailand. But it just, it's a really fun book, just came out. So I think it'd be great also for families. They seem like most of the recipes are pretty simple and a lot of accessible ingredients. So, and I'm just excited because I just love these Southeast Asian dishes. So anything with fresh mint in it, I get excited about. I've been to Thailand and Indonesia. You've been to Vietnam, Malaysia. Where else have you been, my great boy?
Enough.
Philippines. Well, of course, you were in the Navy, so that was your first foray out, was on a ship, and then but you've also traveled a lot.
Yeah.
So so it's one of our favorite sort of destinations in the world, and so it's just, they're really fun flavors, and I wanted to give this a try. So hopefully this won't be too much shallot. Very yummy.
Have a sort of salad quality, or?
Yeah, our cold salad. I would serve it over like spring mix or butter lettuce. I mean, you could serve it with white rice, sticky rice on the side. You certainly, I don't know that it's traditional, but you could certainly mix rice in there and serve it as a cold salad as well to make it even heartier. It's really light. The chicken is really nicely flavorful. I'm getting the fish sauce. The shallots are not overpowering, so I think that was a good move on my part to soak them. Love the cilantro and the mint. The mint is really the star for me because it's just such a great flavor. Getting fish sauce, but not too much. It could be I wouldn't have minded if I'd had one more lime. I would have, maybe a little bit more lime would have been nice, or maybe even some zest in there if I were making this again. It's really tasty. So I want to thank Stacie and her publicist for sharing Winter Winter Chicken Dinner with me. I would encourage you to check it out. I'll share the link so you can order it from your local independent bookstore, which is a great way to support those bookstores that we want to have open when all this is over. And we don't need to use the big box online retailers for this kind of stuff. So go ahead and support your local indie. Check Stacie's website out, STACIEBILLIS.com, StacieBillis.com. Follow me, SWeaverMPH, and on Facebook, Stephanie Weaver MPH. Thanks for watching. Be well, stay well, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.